This is what's happening inside the courtroom right now. Judge Merchan just said it's clear the $1,000 fine is not working. He said going forward, this court will have to consider a jail sentence.
You can't keep getting away with it.
He then said, the last thing I want to consider is jail. You are a former president and possibly the next president, end quote. Andy, why don't we just start right there, because he's going to assess the gag order yet again. The gag order stays, but he'll assess the fine. So I think you're up to 10, 11, maybe 14 grand. I don't know. I lost count.
10, 11, 14 grand. I lost count of how many times Trump couldn't keep his mouth shut and violated the gag order in his criminal case. Don't you just love how the rule of law party falls in line with a guy who continuously makes statements that, in the judge's own words, are direct attacks against the rule of law? While the guy is literally in court on a criminal trial and being threatened with jail time. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 88 friggin' times, then I'd be starting to feel pretty foolish myself.
Fool of a took.
Absolutely no case. It's a political hoax. It's election interference. Anything they can do, and even the witnesses they want to bring up, they have nothing to do with the case. This is a ridiculous situation. Not fair. Not fair.
Well, it's so unfair that I'm not above the law. Presidential immunity, please.
Money, please. Money, please.
And look, I know Judge Merchan is being cautious here, because throwing a former president in jail over gag order violations would be an unprecedented and very politically fraught move. But at the same time, just think about how well that orange jumpsuit would complement Agent Orange's skin tone. I mean, that's a Met Gala look if I ever saw one. But as much as I, and I'm sure you all, would love to see that, I understand the judge's hesitancy. I mean, after all, this is the guy who went in for a mugshot that is now being sold on t-shirts that say things like "not guilty" and "never surrender," which is hilariously ironic until you remember who the target audience is.
Can't fight fire with water. You gotta fight fire with fire.
But
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
We've always known that MAGA supporters aren't exactly the sharpest tools in the shed.
I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
I mean, how low does your IQ have to be to support Trump? But the level of these people and what they blurt out is getting lower and lower. Not only are these folks dumb, uneducated, and laughable with what they say, but sometimes it's getting downright dangerous how low they've sunk.
I just think unions protect people who don't really want to work.
Case in point, you can't expect the people who will literally commit treason on this buffoon's behalf to go gently into that good night.
Do not go gentle into that good night.
So will we see Diaper Don stinking up a jail cell near you soon? I personally would love to see it, but it's hard to say right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments of whether or not you think it's a good idea and how it might play out. And while you're down there, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new here. You know, I'm no legal expert here, so let's see what advice former Assistant U.S. Attorney Andy McCarthy has for Trump in this precarious instance.
Bill, as I said to you last week, if I were Trump, I basically bring in a check for 10 grand every Monday and just say whatever I want.
Oh yeah, great call. Bring in a check for 10 grand into court every Monday and just say whatever the hell you want. Who cares? Trump is loaded, right?
I'm very rich. I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I'm really rich.
Trump's media stock is down 18% right there. You can see it. It has been dropping throughout the morning. This comes after the company that owns Truth Social posted financial numbers this morning. CNN's Matt Egan joins me now. Matt, this is no April Fool's joke, but it might be making some fools out of investors out there.
Fool of a took.
Right, clearly Trump's finances are fine, and I definitely don't see him begging for money from his supporters in every other ad I get on here.
This is all politics at this point. I don't think the judge, I mean, it's easy for me to say because he's not going to put me in custody, but I don't think the judge, because of the politics of this, it would be disastrous politics for the Democrats, for the judge to put former President Trump in jail over this. So he'll continue to fine him. And as long as that's what it is, I think Trump should just pay the fine and otherwise say what he wants to say.
Say what you need to say.
That's right, Donald. In the wise words of John Mayer, take all of your wasted honor. Because you better know that in the end, it's better to say too much than never to say what you need to say again. especially when saying what you need to say simultaneously lowers your net worth and increases your chances of seeing the inside of a jail cell. And while Trump is clearly not doing himself any favors in this trial, it appears that his defense really isn't either.
I want to go back to last Friday, late in the afternoon, Brett. Pope Hicks said this: Trump was worried about how this would be viewed at home, meaning the Stormy Daniels matter. Mr. Trump really values Mrs. Trump's opinion. She doesn't weigh in all the time, but when she does, it's valuable. And she also talked about him trying to make sure that his family is proud of his campaign. How much play does that have with the jury? I guess we'll find out when this thing wraps.
Oh, yeah, okay, this wasn't about election interference. No, clearly Trump falsified business records to protect his family, who he cares about oh so deeply.
In 1996, Donald Trump Jr. graduated from the Hill School in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Donald Trump failed to attend graduation. In 2000, Ivanka Trump graduated from Cote, a boarding school in Wallingford, Connecticut. Donald Trump failed to attend graduation.
I wasn't aware that he went to any of the kids' graduations. I find it insulting.
I swear, these people must think, or at least hope, that the members of the jury are as dumb as Trump's supporters. This idea of protecting Trump's family and Melania is part of what's becoming known as the Melania defense, which I'll let Michael Popok explain a little more thoroughly here.
The Melania defense is that Donald Trump was not trying to commit election interference when he paid off Stormy Daniels, or Michael Cohen paid off Stormy Daniels for Donald Trump. He was trying to protect his family, particularly Melania, whose opinion he cared about. And therefore, there's no second crime, which is required in New York to make this a felony. I was just protecting my family. I didn't care about the election. I didn't care about the campaign. Doesn't hold water and isn't for this jury, I assure you.
Right. I mean, the idea that Melania needed protection already rings a little hollow when you remember her infamous trudge up the steps of Air Force One wearing a jacket that read, "I don't care, do you?" while children were being separated from their families at the border and people were being thrown in cages. Doesn't exactly scream delicate little flower, now does it? But as with much of Trump's case, it really only breaks down more upon further scrutiny.
So let's put away the human dimension, which is going to enter the jury's mind anyway. Factually, if that were true, the Melania defense, then why did Donald Trump tell Michael Cohen, let's delay paying Stormy Daniels at all until after the election, because if we win the election, we don't have to pay her. So let me get this straight. The embarrassment and protection of Melania sort of drops to zero as a purpose after he's president, because Melania won't be hurt by the sex story anymore. I mean, you see where this is going, right?
Oh, I think I can see quite clearly where this is going. So let's cut right to the chase and call this the spade that it is.
Now here's the bombshell that destroys the Melania defense. The defendant directed lawyer A, that's Cohen, to delay making a payment to woman 2, Stormy Daniels, as long as possible. Trump instructed Cohen that if they could delay the payment until after the election, they could avoid paying altogether, because at that point, it would not matter if the story became public. Right. It wouldn't matter to the election, not about embarrassing Melania, as reflected in emails and text messages between Cohen, lawyer B, Keith Davidson, the lawyer for Stormy Daniels, and the AMI editor-in-chief, David Pecker. Cohen attempted to delay making payment as long as possible.
Exactly. That defense of protecting Melania is complete and utter BS for so many reasons, but mainly because it makes no sense when you consider that Trump was trying to delay the payments for as long as possible, because the whole affair wouldn't be an issue if he won the election. God, I really hope we get to see Trump testify in this case just so we can witness him throw himself under the bus even more than he already has. Let me know in those comments, do you think we'll get to see that? Maybe a little testimony from a jail cell? Wouldn't that be nice? I'd love to hear all your thoughts on everything from Judge Merchan continuing to threaten jail time to this absurd Melania defense that Trump's team is trying to concoct here. What are you thinking about all of that and anything else we covered here today? If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like down below, comment, subscribe. It really helps the analytics and we greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel and the work we do here, our Patreon link is in the description down below, and every little bit helps us bring you more great content and coverage of these important stories. Thanks for watching, folks. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hess, and I'll see you all in the next one.